All right, so this is just recording. This is a how-to on how to do 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point perspective. So we're going to start with 1 point. Perspective. And the first thing we need is a horizon line. Very simply, is where the sky meets the ground, and we need a point, a perspective point. So that's where everything is going to go towards. So the basic idea of this, you're going to have 9 squares, and you evenly space them out. And the reason we're doing 9 is because each one is a different angle from that center point, which will be different and unique in its own way. But there are going to be some similarities. So right over this box, we'll erase the X. You're always, for 1 point, going to be drawing the face of the shape. Doesn't matter if it's a circle or a square or a triangle. You're drawing the face freehand. You decide how it looks. Now, for these 4 corners, you are going to be you're going to be drawing a line from those 4 corners over to this vanishing point. And so drawing from each corner, and if you're off, right, you could correct it. Those are the outside corners. Now we have this corner right here that's a little bit on the inside, and we're still gonna draw a line to the vanishing point. It's just gonna look like it's, a see-through cube. So now we have each side of the cube drawn all the way to the vanishing point, and now we gotta give it, it's a cube, so it can't go on forever. So we're gonna draw these lines. So right now, I'm tracing the front line. We're going to repeat this line a little bit farther down. And so it has to be parallel, and it attaches to the same 2 lines the front does. So this one is going to be shorter than this one, but it's going to be parallel. And the same thing over here, drawing parallel line to the front one over here. And guess what? You should have a square once you put these 4 lines. And now we have the cube completely sketched. There's a side. I'm just shading it so you could see it. And there's a front. And then there's this side over here, and there's this side over here. So you could see all parts of the square, of the cube. So now you're going to do that with every cube. So on the front one here, you're going to draw the square. And from all 4 corners, you're going to draw to the vanishing point. And you just got to make the adjustments based on what the square looks like. We know that we're going to take one line from the front, make a smaller version farther down, follow the next line, these vertical lines. So we're going to go up, but we're meeting the next line, right? This is where it tells us where to stop these intersections. And going across, and there's a cube. You can see the front, the back, the sides, and the top, technically, going on that way. And the bottom, technically, right there. And then you just got to do every single box. Now, some of them may be tricky. I'll use a different color so it's easier to see. Like right here, if you're right on top of the vanishing point, if this was a building, you wouldn't see anything. You wouldn't see this top or the sides. But since we're seeing through these buildings, I'm taking a corner and I'm drawing to the vanishing point. Every corner. And then I just draw a smaller square. Meeting at the intersections. And there you go. It's like a box that you can see inside of. So if you do this one should be an upside down version of this one. This one should be an upside down version of that one. And then, so I'll do another one at this point where it's right on the horizon. So because it's on the horizon, you don't see the top or the bottom from the outside. So let's do the vanishing lines. All right, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. Now, to finish this, I got to do these vertical lines that are going to be parallel to the front and just go from intersection to intersection. Just try to keep it parallel. That's the most important part. And there you go. Now you got a cube. And notice, because this is at the vanishing point, at the horizon, you don't see the top. Like this one, you can obviously see the bottom from the outside. Even if you couldn't see through it, you could see the bottom. And that's the bottom right there. You're seeing it from the outside. But from here, you can't see the bottom or the top unless you're looking through the cube. Like right here, we see the inside of the bottom. Same thing for this one. Because it's above the vanishing point, you see the bottom. So when you do a drawing down here, you do a cube down here, you should see the top because it's below this vanishing point. And so that should give you a decent perspective on how to draw a 1-point perspective on 9 different cubes. Now I'm going to show you how to do 2-point perspective. And this is similar. There's a couple of caveats. So do the same thing. We're going to have horizon, vanishing point. Now the difference with this, we're still doing 9 squares, or 9 cubes, excuse me. The difference is, excuse me, we are not having just 1 vanishing point. We are going to have 2. Now, the first rule of this is that all your cubes have to be between these dots. So if you got a vertical line, your cube cannot be close to this line. It's going to get harder. The closer it is to this edge, the harder and harder it's going to be to draw. So let's do one in the middle. Now, previously, when you were doing 1 point, you would draw the entire square. Right? You draw the entire square and then you do your lines from there. This is going to be different. So let's imagine this cube the little tiny cube I'm drawing up here was the cube that you're trying to do here. Well, you wouldn't draw the front. What you're drawing now, sorry, just switching colors, is this line right here. Why? Because in 2-point perspective, you're going to do all your horizontal lines to those 2 points. And that would be your box. And I'll show you how to do the 3D when needed. So let's do that. We're just going to draw 1 line. So we're going to start with this box on the left over here. And if I draw 1 line, this is the bottom, this is the top. I'm going to now connect the bottom and the top to the vanishing point. So now we got the 2 sides. I'm going to erase this extra line. All right, so we got the 2 sides of the book. So this would be the 2 sides, here and here. But we don't have an actual end to the box. It goes on forever. So I'm going to draw 2 more vertical lines. I'm going to draw one here, and I'm going to draw one here. And it kind of looks like an open book. So we're missing something here. It's just an empty space. So how do we do that? How do we figure it out? Well, we got to figure out how this connects to the vanishing point. Now, it's already connected to this vanishing point. So now we got to connect it to the other vanishing point by going across. And going across this way. So now if you notice, we have our box, we have side 1, side 2, and we have the bottom. And so this is a complete 2-point box or cube. Let's do one in the middle so you get an idea. And all of the ones in the middle are going to be similar. You're going to draw a line, connect it to the 2 ends, and then finish it, meaning give it sides so they're not going on forever. And look at that. Now the difference between this and 1 point, the box would be straight. Here it's telling you, no, the box actually would be at a slight angle because of perspective. And that's that one. We'll show you one more. We'll go to the middle here. So remember, above the horizon, if you remember, the horizon is right there. So if you go above the horizon, you'll see the bottom of the box. If you at the horizon, you won't see the top or the bottom. And below the horizon, well, you guess, you will see the top of the box. So I'm going to make 2 lines to the vanishing point, 2 lines to the vanishing point. And now we have 2 sides, 1, 2. And we can make this as big as we want. Obviously, you want to leave space for your other boxes. But let's say I want to make this really huge. Crisscross, gonna look like a big platform or something. Now we got this ginormous box. And it's all using 2-point perspective. All right, so you want to do one more here, and these I would probably make a lot smaller so that they're not crowded. But I already got 3 of my boxes, and then I got a couple small ones here. If it makes it easier, what you could do is use different color pencils so that way you don't get confused with all the lines, because that could be very confusing. Now, for the last part of the video, we're going to do 3-point perspective. Now, this is going to be interesting because technically it'd be easier if your paper was facing the other way. So let me show you what that would look like. If your paper's like this, then you want to add your horizon, and it's going to look like 2-point perspective. But you're also going to add a 3rd dot. Now, this 3rd dot can be above, at the bottom, or at the top. That's up to you. But here's the only thing. Your object has to stay within this triangle. So, right, this triangle goes on forever off your paper, but it has to be between this axis. You can't draw a box over here. It won't work. You need to be between, it's just like 2-point. It needs to be between these 2 points, and it's going to connect to this 3rd point. So this is point number 1, number 2, number 3. But you still can go above at the vanishing point and below the vanishing point. So the only difference is, so now in 2-point perspective, you just drew a random straight line. You drew your lines, and you gave them the edges, right? This first step, when you drew this line, the difference between 2-point and 3-point, you're going to use the 3rd point. So instead of just drawing a line, that line has to go to the 3rd point. That's what activates that 3rd point. Now, every vertical line is going to go down to the 3rd point. All the horizontal, just like in 2-point, it's going to go to 1 and 2. Let me show you. So we're going to do the middle one first. And instead of drawing a vertical line like we did at 2-point, we're going to draw a line that goes. Oops. Hold on, this switched on me. Nope. There we go. So we want a vertical line. It's going to go all the way to that 3rd point because everything is coming from that 3rd point. Now, I'm going to switch colors so you could understand. We're not going to use the entire line. The line is just a guide. But we're going to use this part of the line, the black part of the line. Now we're going to go from, just like 2-point, the top and the bottom of this line will go to one of the points, one of the perspective points. Top and bottom will go to the other perspective point. Now, when we did 2-point, this is where we added these 2 sidelines to end the box. So the box would have 2 sides. So here, we're still going to add those lines. Let me use red so we can see this clearly. But instead of doing a vertical line, we're going to draw 2 new lines that go to that 3rd point. So if you notice, we got these horizontal lines that go to 1 point and 2 point, and then these vertical lines that go to the third point. And now we have our box. We got one side, we got two sides. And the reason we don't see the top or the bottom is because we're at the vanishing point. We're at the horizon. So you follow these same steps. I'll do one more box up here, way at the top. And so once again, let me do this in red, and then I'll trace it in black so you could see it. So I want a box right here. So I'm going to make sure this line goes all the way down to the vanishing point. And guess what? This is where I wanted the top and the bottom of my box. Is using between these dots. This is the box. This is actually this part of the box. I call it the spine or the fold. So I'm connecting the top and the bottom to the first and second point. I'm off on this one. Let me move it down. There we go. Top and bottom. So we got our two sides. All we need is to get the sides of the boxes so they end at some point. And that's how you do it. Instead of following, parallel to anything, remember, all vertical lines go to the third point. So from here, I'm going to draw a line all the way down to the vanishing point. Over here, I'm going to draw a line all the way down to the vanishing point. So I got my two sides of the box. Here's the problem. Just like it looks like an open book, something is missing in this space. And it's the same thing. The way we get the solution to figure out the bottom of the box, it's the same way we did a 2-point perspective. You just crisscross. So you got this point is already connected to the second perspective point. So we're going to connect it to the first. So we go this way. And this one's already connected to the first. We need to connect it to the second. And there's the bottom of the box. I'll shade it to stand out. And I'll do it in black so you could see it better. That's the bottom of the box. That's the side. And that's 3-point perspective. So as you do it, my advice would be, if you're going to do a box down here, make it really small, because you're going to need to do some funky angles, and the bigger you make the box, the harder it's going to be, because there's just not a lot of space. And you could also use lines that already exist. Like I'm using some of the lines from above to make a new box. And it works. So you got to have, I think this one you only have to do 3 boxes. All right, hopefully this helped. You have any questions, just message me on Schoology. I'll be glad to help you.